have two books that I'm going to be starting. They're both very, very, very slim, short read, and yeah, this one is a scholastic book, and this one isn't. So if you would please wait. Is this one? No. Okay, this one has around 70 pages, and this one has around 70 pages. Okay, so I'm gonna read this one, and this one is called Vampires Don't Wear Polka Dots, #1, and this is Little Apple Books. There are some pretty weird grown-ups living in Bailey City, but the new third-grade teacher from Transylvania Alps really be a vampire? The Bailey school kids are going to find out. Okay. #1, a new teacher. Poor Miss Dee Dee, said Melody. I feel sorry for her. A couple of other girls in the third grade classroom at Bailey Elementary School agreed. She got what she deserved. Eddie, the class bully, was a tall kid with curly red hair. Melody turned to Eddie. You shouldn't have been mean to her. If you had been nicer, she wouldn't have gone crazy. That's not my fault, Eddie said. Nobody else was very nice to her either. It was true. There was not an incident person who, in the whole class, every student there was talked loud of thrown paper wads or done something to drive their teacher crazy. Mrs. Dee Dee had not actually gone nuts, but she had to quit her job after she found at the top of her desk drawer full of shaving cream. She had been looking for a pencil when she stuck her hand in the mint-scented shaving cream. I can't stand it anymore, Miss Dee Dee screamed. She held her hands up like a surgeon and looked around the room. A wild look came into her eyes. I don't know who did this, but I want you to know that you will pray for it, that you will pay for it. Someday, you will get yours someday. Somewhere, I'll make you pay. She laughed and crackling her kind of laugh, and she left the room. No one in the third grade had seen Miss Dee Dee since, but since the rumor was that she had moved into a small town in the furthest corner of Alaska, today the third grade of Bailey Elementary School was getting their new teacher. No one had known her yet, and everyone was worried. What if it's a male wrestler? Melody twisted one of her jackets and jet black pigtails on my cousin. My cousin teacher moved away, and they got their male wrestler for a new teacher. Oh, be serious, Melody. Howie laughed and wrinkled his freckled-covered nose. Wrestlers don't become teachers. I'm serious. He weighed at least 300 pounds and had muscles the size of watermelons. He threatened to stuff anybody who misbehaved inside their pencil boxes. Did he ever do it? Howie asked. No, he never had to. Nobody ever misbehaved, Melody answered. Everybody agreed that having a male wrestler for a teacher would be a lot worse than having Miss Dee Dee. A short girl named Lisa, spoke up. Maybe we'll get Miss Valda Swamp. Everybody laughed. Valda Swamp was a character in a book they had read. Lisa turned bright red. Well, we might get her for a teacher, and when all of you will be sorry. That silenced everyone. Valda Swamp was the strictest, meanest teacher in the whole world. If they got somebody like her, we would all be doomed. Don't worry, Eddie bragged. I can take care of any teacher, even a male wrestler. Footsteps from out the hall made uneasy quiet settled over the class, and the footsteps stopped in the front of the third grade room. A couple of students took deep breaths as the doorknob slowly turned. Chapter 2. This one is called Mrs. Jeepers. Their principal, Mr. Davis, walked into the classroom with a beautiful lady. "Good morning, students," the principal said. Mr. Davis looked something like an egg with 2 legs. He wore dark-rimmed glasses and completely bald. "I would like to introduce you to our new teacher, Mrs. Jeepers." Miss Jeepers smiled at the class and said in a strange accent, "It's very nice to meet you. Boys and girls, I'm sure we're going to have a good year together." Some of the girls in the back of the room giggled at her accent, and Mr. Davis looked at them sternly. "I am sure that nobody in the class will give you trouble, Mrs. Jeepers. If they do, you will want to let me know." "Thank you, Mr. Davis. I'm sure we will be fine." Miss Jeepers smiled an odd little half smile. The door closed with a loud click as Mr. Davis left. All 22 children looked at Mrs. Jeepers. She was kind of looking short, and her long red hair was pulled back at a purple beret. She wore a starched white blouse with a high collar. At the collar had been green a brooch with the size of a chicken egg. She seemed to glow whenever she moved. Her skirt was black and hung to the tops of her black laced pointy-toed boots. While the class stared at her, Mrs. Jeepers looked around the room. A couple of kids were chewing gum, and almost everybody slouched in their chairs. A fat boy picked his nose, and a girl in the back combed her long blonde hair. Loose papers and books were scattered all over the floor. Miss Jeepers cleared her throat and spoke. "I'm glad to be your teacher, and think that we should start off by laying the groundwork. There are some rules I have to expect you to follow." A few lads in the class groaned. "Ugh, don't worry. They are not difficult rules. They are probably ones that you will have already been following. We still start with the most important ones." With that, Miss Jeepers proceeded to write the rules on the board. Number 1, act nicely to teachers and fellow students. Number 2, talk at appropriate times. And number 3, walk. Eddie waved his hands in the air. "What if we don't follow those rules? What will happen then?" Miss Jeepers smiled and flashed her green eyes. "I hope you will never have to find out." With the rules out of the way, Miss Jeepers started classwork. Remember Mr. Davis warning a little... Morning for a little while in the morning went smoothly. Mrs. Jeepers seemed to be a pretty fun teacher. During social studies and even in the class about her home country, Mrs. Jeepers started speaking very softly. "I come from the country of Romania." She picked up a globe and spun it to show where Romania was located. "Jeepers don't sound like a Romanian name to me," Eddie said. Mrs. Jeepers flashed her eyes in the direction. "My real name is too difficult to pronounce. I changed it when I came to America." All the students leaned forward to hear her better. Even Eddie, who always tried to act if he wasn't paying attention, leaned his one eyebrow and listened. Leaned his elbows and listened. "Romania is a small country bordered by Russia and the Black Sea. I grew up on my family's estate and the foot of the Transylvanian Alps. It was a wonderful life until what?" Elizabeth blurred. Mrs. Jeepers flashed her green eyes until my family was forced to leave. "Why did you have to leave?" Melody asked. Mrs. Jeepers gently touched her brooch. "Oh, that's not important now," she said with a little half smile. Then she dismissed the class for recess. I'm on only page 12, and we're on chapter 3, so this is going to go very fast, and I'm going to read it later. Okay, see you guys later.